What's going on, everybody? Professor Jeff Weeks here, and myself over at Colleyville Jiu-Jitsu Mid-Cities, and we're going to talk about the sleeve choke, also known as the Ezekiel. Some call it the easy kill. Also, we're going to do a couple of variations using the lapel, and we're going to do it from side control as well as from the mount. One of my favorite submissions that I've been doing since blue belt, which earned me my 3rd stripe with a legend watching over me, was not the sleeve choke, but the sleeve fist. So we're gonna go through a couple of details, a couple of variations, and we're gonna also talk about defending the sleeve choke and the sleeve fist. All right, guys, so we're going to be talking about doing a sleeve choke or Ezekiel from the side control. All right, typically in the side control, what we have is I want the far underhook with my right hand, okay, and my left hand I definitely want to have a crossface. All right, I'm not really interested in clapping my hands together. I mean, this is good for no gi. The only problem is that you work so hard to get to the side control, you get that crossface, clap your hands together, and then you're just sitting here, and if you want to do anything, you gotta let go. So what I prefer is controlling the shoulder. The bottom person, Professor Jeff here, he's probably going to be framing and want his elbows in. He definitely doesn't want them out because he doesn't want me to separate him, okay? What I'm going to do is I'm kind of going to drop my head and I'm going to pull his lapel out, as you see here, okay? My objective is to loop it over that elbow and to control this arm right here, okay? However, before we get to looping it over so you can set up the sleeve choke, one of the things that I like to do is you establish a good control here as I'm controlling the shoulder. This hand is kind of extending a bit so I can get his head and spine offline so that I can weaken the structure. Right here, I'm cupping the shoulder. What I definitely want to do is I want to get this lapel out, okay? From here, first what I'll do is maybe I'll feed it underneath, and I have a very nice tight crossface and control here as compared to just having my shoulder and my hand floating, because now the lapel replaces my hand, okay? So from here, I can even grab the tip right here, put more weight on him, keep his elbow under control, pull it out and loop it over and get a nice tight control over his arm. And now his arm is stuck, all right? One of the things that I always like to go for in the very beginning is, number one, make sure that this is tight enough so his hand cannot, it can't escape, okay? And I do this by pulling my hand down to the mat and driving my shoulder more so like a crossface, okay? My weight is towards me because I don't want him to roll me, all right? My right hand comes underneath, and what I'm gonna start doing is I'm gonna just like starting my belly button on his chest as I wanna begin to just cross-face him with my left shoulder, and I wanna crank his elbow, shoulder up, because here you may get the submission, all right? Now, how do you set up the actual sleeve choke or Ezekiel with this lapel? You have to be prepared and you have to be strategic and thinking ahead a couple steps, okay? And this is where jiu-jitsu goes from checkers to chess, all right? So I have Professor Jeff's arm trapped. As I start kind of cranking his elbow up, I don't really want to crank it up and he's going to keep it down. Yes. So I bring my arm kind of over and I control his elbow in, but here I'm going to loosen up on the lapel, all right? What's going to happen here is that he's going to feel it's getting loose. As he pulls his arm out, my right hand, as you see right here, goes right underneath that lapel, okay? And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna bring it on the opposite side of his neck. As my left foot postures up, my right fist is on the opposite side of the neck as I'm gonna pull him in and crank his head up. If you turn a little bit to the left, okay, you guys will see here how my right hand is on the opposite side of his neck. Okay, so here I got Professor Jeff in a side control. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to mount. Master Carlos calls this kind of like a brutal mount. First thing I do is I extend my left hand to get his spine offline, and as my right arm extends and separates that elbow, I'm going to slide my belly button on his chest. My left knee comes to my right as I slide this over, and I got to the mount, okay? As you see right here, my objective is to peel this elbow away from the bottom person's side, okay? But if you know, having been on the bottom, you don't really want that elbow away, so they're gonna keep that elbow down, okay? So as he keeps it down, one of the things that I like to do is I like to get low, and my knees, if you notice, are behind my hips. All right. My right hand is gonna walk it up, and he's not gonna want it separated. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna let him hide that hand as my elbow begins to make contact with the shoulder, closing this door so he can't bring his arm back up through. My left hand is gonna grab that sleeve, and I'm going to collect the material here. While my elbow is still good and nice and tight on his shoulder, I'm gonna make a fist, and I'm gonna, along the mat, I'm gonna walk the elbow out as my right fist comes over my wrist, okay? Because I wanna line it up with his jaw right here, okay? So as I'm here, I have tension, okay? Gripping with my left hand, my right elbow walks it out, and I wanna align it right about here, because now it's aligned with my shoulder and my elbow, okay? So my left shoulder drives his face into the fist, and we finish the choke, okay? I wanna line up my fist right about where his kind of wisdom teeth are, where the jaw closes, okay? So one more time, I got to the mount, my right hand is peeling his hand away, he loops it under, and I'm gonna close that door as my left hand reaches and grabs the sleeve, okay? From here, I collect it, make the fist, okay? And now I'm gonna just kind of walk my elbow out as my right fist comes over my wrist, and I'm just gonna shift my weight as my weight goes right into his cheek, and I'm gonna drive his face right into my fist. Another option which you have is off the same thing here. You're gonna walk his elbow out. He's gonna be moving his elbow down, and you kind of open up your elbow and let it slide through. As you collect it right here and you close that door, your left hand collects your sleeve, and now you can also line it up with his neck right here and put your weight more on your elbow so that you drive his face and neck right into the fist. So the fist can go into the neck, or it can also go into the face. For those of you who like the sleeve choke or the Ezekiel, one of the ways to do it, for me personally, it's not one of my most favorite positions. However, you kind of, if they turn their heads or something, it actually works out. Same thing, you're walking that elbow away, he hides it, I'm gonna close that right here, and I'm gonna make a chopping hand right here as I go over his neck right here, okay? So now I make a chopping hand right here. You can have either 4 fingers in or 3 fingers in, depending on how thrashed your fingers and wrists are, and mine are quite thrashed, okay? So let's say I'll use 3 fingers in here. As my right hand goes across his neck, I'm gonna move it across, and I'm gonna put my weight on it, and I'm gonna extend away and finish. Now we're going to talk about defending the sleeve choke, okay? One of the ways, there's a couple ways to defend the sleeve choke. Professor Jeff's really got a good technique for that. So what we'll do is I'll walk you guys through it. So basically what happens is that same setup, I got his elbow out, he hit it, I closed that door, grabbed my wrist right here, got my sleeve, he turned his head maybe, I begin to walk it over here. Now in order for me to finish it, if you notice, I have to kind of posture up, okay? Oftentimes you kind of even have to sit up. What Professor Jeff does very effectively is that he brings his elbows up like this and holds my neck. If you notice, I can't even look at you guys right now, okay? From here, I can't finish it, but if you notice, my top hand right here, this one right here, is on my shoulder, and because Professor Jeff is opening up his elbows, especially that right one of his, what happens is he's holding me down here, and he's opening up his elbows, go ahead, and he tap, 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 and he wrist lock me because my hand is vulnerable to get wrist locked because I can't even remove it because I am locked in, okay? Professor Jeff, what kind of grip did you have on the back there? There we go. And notice how his elbows are open, so it's driving my weight forward. My right hand is stuck on the shoulder, and he begins to pull me down, and his elbows come up, tap, tap, tap. I can't even tap. I got a verbal tap, as all of y'all know. It's horrible. The other great part about this particular defense is that as I'm sliding my hand in for that sleeve choke, let's say Professor Jeff does the same technique right here, okay? I hid my hand, but the problem here is now my elbows are still together. Now Professor Jeff just takes both hands and just puts them under my chin and starts pushing it up, 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 and I have to let go, or else this bottom hand is going to get wrist locked if I keep holding the sleeve, because Professor Jeff just pushes up and right there, I gotta let go and abandon it. But from here, my position is already compromised because I got a weak now base here. He can begin to collapse my base and so forth and bump his hips. One thing that I wanted to point out to you guys as we're going for this particular sleeve choke right here, and I'm in the wrist lock position, Professor Jeff grabs kind of back of my head right there, okay? I save my hand, but the problem here is that he's holding my head down so tight his elbows are opening that if he bumps and rolls to his left, I am very, very compromised and my base is completely off. And there's a good chance that one of two things will happen. You're either gonna roll him to the bottom, or they will let go. But from here, he's already got his hands in, he's defending the crossface, and now I've already taken several steps back, he's taken a couple steps forward, and he improved his position. All right, now, how do we defend the sleeve fist? Sometimes you just gotta reverse engineer the technique to see exactly what you have to do to stop the technique from getting into the proper position, all right? So, same thing here. I'm walking his elbow away, away, away. He tucks it underneath. I close that door right there. My left hand, grab my sleeve. And if you notice, what I'm gonna do is I'm going to bring my elbow out and align it literally in a straight line. So my left shoulder is driving into my right elbow. But from here, if Professor Jeff pulls my elbow down, I don't have the pressure here to even finish anything. In fact, I'm compromised because now my base is so narrow that if he bumps his hips, I have to let go. One of the things that you can do to counter this, which maybe I shouldn't be showing you guys, but it's okay. From here is I got the sleeve. As I'm trying to align it out, he's just grabbing my arm and he's just not letting it go. As I'm trying to grab it, I'll probably abandon it because I already feel that he's already a step ahead, but then he got his hand on the inside now, and now we're back into this whole game here, and we are exchanging Jiu-Jitsu chess strategies here as Professor Jeff goes and so forth, okay? And then I'm gonna go for my boss grip here, turn him on the side and all that kind of stuff. Tap, tap, tap. All right, everybody, thank you very much. Professor Jeff, thank you so much for helping out. Always a pleasure. You got a lot of good details. You got how to apply a sleeve choke using the lapel. You got how to apply a sleeve choke, a sleeve fist from the mount, and we have some defenses for both. So remember, a lot of times you got to just watch your technique, see exactly mechanically what makes it work, and then reverse engineer it so you can deconstruct it, and then you can understand how to counter. All right. For Professor Jeff, for me, Professor Greg, Carlos Machado, Jiu-Jitsu Mid-Cities, thank you very much, and we're going to be bringing content to you as much as we can.